name is Lexi Berg. Welcome to Real.
There's a million of us all thinking that we're the only ones. You just gotta look up a second for you to notice love. To say that it's a lonely world, but I don't know.
Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
My first question is a bit more about your early age. At only age 5, you were said to be a very good classically trained pianist, if not a child prodigy. How did that influence your musical journey later on? And did that help you write your first song?
I wasn't a child prodigy when I was 5. I started playing the piano when I was 5, but I was treated like piano was my life and that was going to be my career from the age of maybe 7 or 8. And that was a lot of pressure, I think. And so it was incredible because I loved the performing and I loved playing the songs, but I had a really hard time with the pressure of it all and like the competition and comparing myself to others. So I think it had like a lot of good things and a few bad things about it. And so when I realized I could sing and I didn't have to practice as much and it wasn't as lonely, I think, I chose to go into singing. And it wasn't until later, like 17 or 18, when I first really sat down and used the classical piano skills that I'd learned at a young age together with singing. So I think it influences everything that I do, really.
You talk about a family tragedy happening early on. Can you tell me more about what happened and why you had to flee? How did that affect your music and how did that affect your kind of early age?
Wow, going straight in. I grew up in Sweden, so it was a very safe environment. And then I lived with my uncle who was bipolar or manic depressive, and he had a lot of ups and downs, and when he was good it was amazing, but when he was low it was really tough and he was kind of closed off to the world, and he ended up basically taking his life, or as we say now, died by suicide, which is the correct PC term. And at the age of, I think it was 13 or 14, that's like a massive shock to the system. I mean, somebody who is that close to you, who you live with, passing away, and also choosing to pass away. I completely blocked it out. So I didn't talk about him. I refused to mention his name. When anybody said his name, I would say, no, I don't want to talk about it. And I just suppressed it. And then we left Sweden. I basically didn't really go back. And the few times I went back, I was much older. I was like 17, 18, 19. And the whole city of Stockholm was kind of tainted with the memory of that whole period of my life. And it meant that I repressed all these emotions, and it meant that I didn't really explore a lot of the things that I think a lot of normal teenagers do. Like, I never had any romantic relationships. I was very scared of sharing personal emotions. I was really, really closed off. So it really wasn't until I was about 21 when my sister wrote a play about his suicide. And it basically, watching the play triggered me completely. And I had like a breakdown in front of about 150 people. And that made me realize that I hadn't dealt with it. And when I dealt with it, that was when I started writing music properly. Like really delving into what it means to write about something that's real. And ever since that moment, I've been trying to dig deeper and deeper into lyrics and melodies that are actually really exposing. And the way that it's influenced my writing and my performing is that it's taken me a really, really long time to be myself. Like a very long time. Because it was for 15 years I just not 15 years, but like 10 years, I've suppressed it, repressed any kind of feeling. So it's just like getting into that, and then also being able to share your emotional feelings through song, I think is an incredible gift. And I think by sharing your personal experiences, maybe you can help other people realize that they're not so alone in their personal experiences of these ups and downs.
Yeah.
You know? I think if my uncle had been in this world now, it would have been maybe a different story, because people talk about it more and people are more open. And I hope that I can make music that make people think about it more and make people see that they're not so alone.
Would you say that's the general message you want to convey to your listeners?
Yeah, I think the thing with me is that I try to write happy songs sometimes, but they're not the ones that connect with people. And I think I don't feel as connected, because for me, it's like a purge. When I write a song, it's because I'm so angry, or I'm so sad, or I'm so lonely. And the only thing I can do is go to the piano and write a song. My piano is like my best friend in that scenario. And so I'm having a conversation with the piano, and I'm using the piano to kind of visibly show my emotions. And what was the question? I was just imagining being at the piano and thinking, I really love it. Look, the thing that I think the message that I'm trying to, that was the question, right?
Yeah.
The message I'm trying to portray is that there are so many people out there who are experiencing the same thing that you are. And often I've felt like I'm completely alone, And so by talking about that, I think other people realize when they're feeling completely alone, oh wait, I'm not the only one who feels this way. And then one of the songs that I wrote, for example, is called Helpless to Help You. And when I first went on tour with that song, so many people would come up to me and say, I felt exactly how you feel in that song. And that to me is worth everything. Even if it's just 3 people in your whole entire life that have said that they've actually experienced some kind of emotional purge from something that you've written, I mean, that's worth it, right?
Yeah.
I have to keep reminding myself that though,
Sometimes you can forget, and that is...
Yeah.
If you could gain a new skill or ability instantly, what would it be and why? It could be music related, it could be something
I want to be DJing really well soon.
Oh, cool.
So if I could just get it like that, I would totally want that immediately.
Wow, okay. And because your music is more like, you know, as you said, like emotional side, do you want to DJ somebody else's music or your own?
Both. I really want, and produce perfectly. Like if I could just like this be a professional producer, mixer, DJ, that would be amazing, but I'm learning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool.
House music and dance music can be really emotional. And that's what I would love to kind of play with, like that balance of almost creating sad dance music.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. Yeah. I wanna hear it when it's out.
Have you heard of ecstatic dance?
No, I haven't.
Ecstatic dance is like a spiritual, you basically go and you kind of dance as crazy as you can to really spiritually
like relieve yourself.
Like spiritual techno. And it's kind of weird and wild, but it would be awesome to kind of bring that more into like a mainstream vibe of like more mainstream house music, but the same vibe of like releasing something on the dance floor.
Well, I want to experience it one day. What's your favorite vegetable?
Cucumber.
Cucumber. Why cucumber?
I don't know. I think I'd like cucumber with everything. What's my favorite vegetable? I mean, what is a vegetable? You know, avocado is a fruit, so that doesn't count. Spinach is delicious. I mean, loads of things. What a weird question.
Yeah, well, that's what we're here for. Weird questions.
Cucumber is good because you can dip it in loads of things.
Okay. Yeah, and then you can, if you have like any like eye bags, you can just put it on. Somehow it will fix everything.
Cauliflower is really good too because it's really functional.
Can you tell me more about your experience of being scouted by a record label from a very young age, and you're signed now to a company that's from Warner Music?
Not anymore.
Would you? Oh, not anymore. Oh, sorry about that.
Not anymore. That's okay.
Well, actually, let's talk about that. Would you actually recommend artists consider signing, and what was your experience with that?
Yes, I would recommend signing, but I think when you sign, you have to have a very strong idea of what you want and who you are. And I think the mistake that I had was thinking that if I just did what other people told me to do, that it would work. And actually what you need to do when you sign to something or a company is have a really strong idea of what you want and how to use the money. And basically, you know, you can listen to advice from others, but really it has to come from you. And I had quite a lot of mixed advice from a lot of different people. And I'm gonna blame also the fact that it was COVID. And so the things that I'm really good at and that I love were all taken away from me, which is like performing, which is like interviews like this, meeting people, meeting fans, going on tour. That was all gone. So the only thing we could focus on was the visual stuff. I didn't have any confidence in my taste.
Okay.
Like I was like, I don't know anything about visual arts. I don't know anything about music videos or whatever, even though I'd made two by myself independently, which I actually think are the best ones I've made.
Which one were they?
Take Off Your Disguise and What If. They
Okay.
were my first two ones.
Okay.
They're like in the mountains. I don't know if you've seen them, but
Yeah.
And then in the first video I did was Into the Sea, and I worked so specifically with the director. I was like, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. That was my favorite one out of everything. I think you have to stick to what you really know, what you love, and what you think is the best.
Yeah.
Also, just trust yourself. You know, people can tell you this or that, and this is what's going to be big, and like no one knows. So as long as you are yourself, like 100% yourself, and 100% authentic, people will resonate with you, or someone out there will resonate with you. So rather than trying to chase something, try and do your own thing and see who follows.
And is that why you decided to get away from being a signed artist? Would you consider signing again?
I would, but I would love to sign to a small label.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say, because Warner, you know, it was a branch of Warner that you were signed to, was that like why you think it was difficult?
No, I think they were really great with me, honestly.
Okay.
I think the main thing was that we didn't really know which way to go.
Okay.
And I'm very much about trying loads of different things, but what I should have done and what I could have done, but I didn't know at the time, was to really start from scratch with me and focus on the craft, focus on what makes me distinct, what makes an artist the artist, what's made them come this far in the first place. Whilst we looked at things like, what has made this other artist big? Okay, can we follow that method? Or like, oh, should we dress me up like this? Or should we do this sound? Well, instead of doing that, what we should have done is looked at, okay, what am I good at? Piano. So what I would have loved to have done, if I'd known this information then, would have been like, okay, I'm really good at the piano. What makes my style like a little bit me? Okay, take that, expand it, like maybe edit it, bring it out. What do I like to draw? Like bring that into it, you know, and bring that into the design. You know, what art do I like? Bring that into the album art. Like really focus on what makes that artist individual. And what I would love to do now is work with a smaller record label and do that.
Okay.
But I would have loved to have known that when I was with Warner, because obviously Warner's a major label and they have a lot of money, and that would have been fun to play with. But at the same time, again, it was COVID. Like I couldn't perform. I couldn't perform any of the songs that I wrote. So, you know, you go in from studio and then you release. There's no in between. I think another piece of advice is always, when you write a song, perform it before you record it.
Okay.
Because that's when you see the connection to the audience and like how you should play the instrument, how you should sing the song, where are the crescendos, like where does it build, where do you pull back? What song part of the song didn't work? Like what did people not understand? What lyrics did they get? Like it's just like all that stuff. I had none of it. Not a single time. I performed twice when I was with Warner.
Wow.
So I would highly recommend that. But other than that, Warner did their best with me.
You lived in Sweden, America, Edinburgh, London. How did changing location influence your music? And did you find is London easier to be a musician rather than, other cities?
A lot of my songs are about being alone or feeling lost or feeling like I don't belong. I think those are obviously influenced by the fact that I would come to a lot of places and not know anybody, not know the culture, not understand even sometimes, language barriers on both sides. Because, I'd live in Sweden for a couple of years and then I'd come to America or London, and there would be a barrier then when I went back to Sweden because I wouldn't have spoken Swedish as much. It's just like you'll always be a little bit of an outsider, But it also meant that I had all these amazing cultures to lean on and places to go and loads of different homes, I'm very lucky to have that. So I've tried to lean into the positivity of it and realize that there's, a lot of positives and good things to learn from moving around.
Okay.
But also I think a lot of the songs are influenced by it, and I think people can really understand it more and more now. I think more and more people feel like outsiders or feel like they aren't really like the molds that exist. What you see in like newspapers or TV or on Instagram as like the perfect life. People feel like they're not part of that, or they feel like an outsider, or maybe they've moved to a new place, or maybe they don't fit into their job. Like, it's a very universal feeling, being a little bit out on the outside.
Yeah, London's a multicultural kind of place.
Yeah.
So it's, everyone's
Where are you
coming
from?
I'm from France.
You're from France?
Yeah.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
J'habitais en Belgique quand j'avais 3 ans.
Ah, d'accord. What's it?
That's the only thing I can say.
Because you sounded like you were gonna, having a conversation in French. A bit of a funny one, but in what situation, / where would you never agree to your music being played?
Like a political right-wing rally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Straightforward. What are your goals now, and where do you see yourself evolving where do you see your music career evolving in the coming years?
My goal is to release music in 2024. A lot of music. I just want to put it all out there. I think I've been really afraid to release stuff, thinking, is this the right song? Is this the right vibe? Is this the right sound? But actually, I just gotta go with my gut instinct, pick the songs that I love, make the production really simple and what I would want to listen to and what I would hear live, or what the audience would hear live, and just focus on that. And then just build an audience that want to listen to me because they like the music that I write, and because they connect to the lyrics, and because they want to hear it. And just trust in that, and trust in those people and those connections. And hopefully from that will be like a long career, one with real people supporting me,
Are you doing music full time at the moment?
Yeah.
Great. That's nice.
Yeah. So my dream is to be able to write songs with other artists, for other artists, compose music for movies, because I love doing that. And I would love to really go into that. Also DJ, really get much better at production, which I'm learning right now. And then have my artist project as well. So just like live in the world of live and breathe music is what I would love to do. Yeah.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering my questions.
No, of course.
Hopefully they aren't too strange.
No. Thank you. Hi, my name is Lexi. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.